What if the very account you've been told will make you rich is actually designed to slowly take money away from you? Every year, millions of people confidently pour their savings into a 401k, believing they're doing the smartest thing possible. Tax breaks today, employer match, steady growth. It all sounds perfect. But hidden beneath that convenience is a long-term cost most people never calculate. Now here's the twist. There's another account, the Roth IRA, that flips the entire system. You pay taxes up front, yes, but after that, your money grows untouched. No future taxes, no surprises, no government cut waiting for you decades down the line. So the real question isn't which one is better on paper. It's this: do you want to delay your taxes or eliminate them completely? Because one of these strategies gives you control, predictability, and true ownership of your wealth. And the other? It might be quietly setting you up to lose a significant portion of everything you build. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how both accounts work, where most people go wrong, and which one could be silently draining your future wealth without you even noticing. There's a silent financial battle happening right now, and most people don't even realize they're losing. You've probably heard of a Roth IRA and a 401k. Maybe you've even been told to invest in one of them without questioning why. But here's the uncomfortable truth. One of these accounts could be quietly eroding your long-term wealth, while the other might be your strongest financial weapon. The problem is, almost nobody explains the difference in a way that actually matters. On the surface, both accounts seem similar. They're retirement vehicles. They offer tax advantages. They help you grow your money over time. But when you dig deeper, the mechanics behind them reveal something far more important: timing of taxation, control over your investments, and flexibility when you need your money most. These factors don't just influence your returns, they determine how much of your wealth you actually keep. Let's start with the 401k. This is the default choice for millions of workers. Your employer offers it, sometimes even matches your contributions, and it feels like a no-brainer. You contribute pre-tax income, which lowers your taxable income today. That sounds like a win. But what most people ignore is what happens later. Every dollar you withdraw in retirement is taxed as ordinary income, not capital gains, not at a reduced rate, full income tax. Now, consider the Roth IRA. It flips the equation. You contribute after-tax money, meaning you pay taxes up front. At first glance, this feels like a disadvantage. Why pay taxes now when you could delay them? But here's where the power lies. Once your money is inside a Roth IRA, it grows completely tax-free. And when you withdraw it in retirement, you pay nothing. Zero taxes on contributions, zero taxes on gains. This difference might seem subtle today, but over decades, it becomes massive. Imagine building a portfolio worth hundreds of thousands or even millions, and then realizing a significant portion belongs to the government because of deferred taxes. That's the hidden cost many people never calculate. But this isn't just about taxes. It's about control, predictability, and future-proofing your finances in an uncertain economic environment. Tax rates change, policies shift, inflation rises. What seems like a smart decision today could become a liability tomorrow. And that's where the real question begins. Are you optimizing for short-term comfort or long-term wealth preservation? Because one of these accounts rewards patience and foresight, while the other can quietly chip away at your financial independence without you even noticing. To truly understand which account might be destroying your wealth, you need to think beyond today's tax savings and focus on future tax exposure. This is where most people get it wrong. They assume that because a 401k reduces their taxable income now, it must be the smarter option. But that assumption depends on one critical variable: what your tax rate will be in the future. Right now, you might be in a lower tax bracket. Maybe you're early in your career or earning a moderate income. Contributing to a 401k gives you immediate relief. But what happens when you retire? Many people assume their income will drop, and therefore their tax rate will be lower. That's the traditional argument. But reality doesn't always follow that script. Consider this. By the time you retire, you may have multiple income streams: your 401k distributions, Social Security benefits, rental income, dividends, or even part-time work. All of these stack together and can push you into a higher tax bracket than expected. Suddenly, those tax-deferred savings become heavily taxed withdrawals. Now, add another layer. Governments around the world are dealing with rising debt and increasing spending. One of the most likely outcomes over the next few decades is higher taxes. If tax rates rise, every dollar you withdraw from a 401k becomes more expensive. You're essentially betting that future tax rates will be lower than today. That's a risky assumption. On the other hand, a Roth IRA removes that uncertainty. You pay taxes now, at known rates, and eliminate future tax risk entirely. This gives you something incredibly valuable: predictability. No matter what happens with tax laws, your Roth withdrawals remain tax-free. There's also the issue of required minimum distributions, or RMDs. With a 401k, the government forces you to start withdrawing money at a certain age, whether you need it or not. These withdrawals are taxable, which can push you into higher tax brackets and reduce your overall wealth. Roth IRAs don't have this problem. There are no required minimum distributions during your lifetime. Your money can continue to grow tax-free for as long as you want. This gives you more control over your financial strategy and allows you to pass wealth more efficiently to future generations. So when you compare the two, the question isn't just about saving taxes today. It's about minimizing taxes over your entire lifetime. And in many cases, the account that feels more expensive up front ends up being significantly more efficient in the long run. Another critical difference that often gets overlooked is investment control and flexibility. With a 401k, your investment options are typically limited to a predefined list selected by your employer. These choices might include mutual funds, target date funds, or index funds, but they often come with higher fees and less customization. Fees might seem small at first, maybe 1% or less, but over decades they compound just like your investments. A seemingly minor fee can quietly drain tens of thousands of dollars from your portfolio over time. And because these fees are often buried in fund structures, many investors don't even realize how much they're paying. In contrast, a Roth IRA offers significantly more flexibility. You can invest in individual stocks, ETFs, index funds, and even alternative assets depending on your provider. This level of control allows you to tailor your portfolio to your exact strategy, risk tolerance, and long-term goals. Flexibility also extends to withdrawals. With a Roth IRA, you can withdraw your contributions at any time without penalties or taxes. This creates a safety net that a 401k simply doesn't provide. While retirement accounts are designed for long-term investing, life doesn't always follow a predictable path. Emergencies happen, opportunities arise. Having access to your contributions can be a powerful advantage. On the other hand, withdrawing from a 401k before retirement age often comes with penalties and taxes. This discourages access and limits your financial agility. While this structure is intended to promote disciplined saving, it can also create constraints when you need liquidity. Another factor is employer dependency. Your 401k is tied to your job. If you change employers, you may need to roll over your account, which can be a complex process. Some people leave old 401ks behind, resulting in fragmented accounts and inefficient management. A Roth IRA is independent. It stays with you regardless of where you work. This continuity simplifies your financial planning and gives you consistent control over your investments. When you combine these elements, fees, flexibility, control, and accessibility, a clear pattern begins to emerge. One account is structured for institutional convenience and employer integration, while the other is designed for individual empowerment. And in a world where financial independence is becoming increasingly important, the ability to control your money, minimize costs, and adapt to changing circumstances isn't just beneficial, it's essential for long-term wealth building and preservation. Now, let's address one of the biggest selling points of the 401k, the employer match. This is often presented as free money, and in many ways it is. If your employer matches a portion of your contributions, you're effectively getting an immediate return on your investment. Ignoring this benefit can seem like leaving money on the table. But here's where nuance matters. While the employer match is valuable, it doesn't automatically make the 401k the superior long-term vehicle. It simply means that up to a certain contribution level, the 401k becomes highly attractive. Beyond that point, the advantages begin to diminish, especially when you factor in taxes, fees, and withdrawal constraints. Think of the employer match as a bonus layer, not the foundation of your retirement strategy. Once you've captured the full match, the question becomes, where should your next dollar go? Continuing to pour money into a tax-deferred account might not always be the optimal choice. This is where a hybrid strategy often comes into play. Many financially savvy individuals contribute enough to their 401k to receive the full employer match, then shift additional contributions into a Roth IRA. This approach allows them to benefit from the immediate gains of the match while also building a pool of tax-free assets for the future. Diversification isn't just about investments. It's also about tax exposure. By having both pre-tax and after-tax accounts, you gain flexibility in retirement. You can choose which account to draw from based on your tax situation at the time, effectively managing your taxable income year by year. However, relying too heavily on a 401k can create a tax bottleneck. If the majority of your retirement savings are in tax-deferred accounts, every withdrawal becomes a taxable event. This limits your ability to control your tax bracket and can result in higher lifetime tax payments. A Roth IRA, on the other hand, acts as a strategic counterbalance. It provides a source of tax-free income that can be used to supplement other withdrawals or cover large expenses without increasing your taxable income. So while the 401k offers immediate incentives, it's not without long-term trade-offs. The key is understanding how these trade-offs align with your financial goals and future expectations. Ultimately, the goal isn't to choose one account blindly over the other. It's to recognize the hidden dynamics that can either amplify or erode your wealth over time. And once you see those dynamics clearly, your strategy becomes far more intentional and effective. There's also a psychological dimension to this decision that rarely gets discussed, but it plays a powerful role in long-term outcomes. The way an account is structured influences behavior, and behavior ultimately determines success in investing. A 401k is designed for automation. Contributions are deducted directly from your paycheck, making it easy to stay consistent. This set it and forget it approach helps many people build wealth without actively thinking about it. However, it can also lead to complacency. Investors may pay less attention to fees, performance, or allocation because everything happens in the background. A Roth IRA requires more intentional action. You typically have to fund it yourself, choose your investments, and manage your strategy. This extra involvement can lead to better financial awareness and more deliberate decision-making. When you actively engage with your investments, you're more likely to optimize them. Another psychological factor is tax perception. Paying taxes upfront with a Roth IRA can feel painful. It reduces your immediate take-home income and may create resistance. In contrast, the 401k feels rewarding because it lowers your taxable income today. But this perception can be misleading. What feels good in the short term isn't always beneficial in the long term. Avoiding taxes now can create a larger burden later, especially if your portfolio grows significantly. The Roth IRA flips this dynamic by front-loading the pain and eliminating future stress. There's also the concept of ownership. With a Roth IRA, every dollar in your account is truly yours. There are no future tax obligations attached to it. This clarity can provide a stronger sense of financial security and confidence. In a 401k, a portion of your account effectively belongs to the government in the form of deferred taxes. While this isn't immediately visible, it becomes very real when you start making withdrawals. This hidden liability can alter how much you can actually spend in retirement. Behavioral finance studies consistently show that clarity and simplicity lead to better outcomes. When investors understand their situation clearly, they make more rational decisions. The Roth IRA's straightforward structure aligns well with this principle. So beyond the numbers, there's a deeper layer to consider. Which system encourages better habits, greater awareness, and stronger control over your financial future? Because in the end, the account you choose doesn't just affect your money, it shapes how you manage it. So, which one is quietly destroying your wealth? The answer isn't absolute, but for many people, an over-reliance on the 401k can become a long-term liability, not because the account itself is flawed, but because of how it's commonly used and misunderstood. If you blindly maximize your 401k without considering future taxes, fees, and withdrawal rules, you may be setting yourself up for reduced financial flexibility and higher lifetime tax payments. The danger isn't obvious today. It's hidden in the future, waiting to surface when you begin drawing down your savings. On the other hand, a Roth IRA offers a level of transparency and control that aligns well with long-term wealth preservation. By paying taxes upfront, you eliminate uncertainty, reduce future obligations, and create a pool of tax-free assets that can support you in retirement with restrictions. But the smartest approach isn't choosing one over the other in isolation. It's about strategic allocation. Capture the employer match in your 401k, then prioritize building your Roth IRA. This creates a balanced system that leverages the strengths of both accounts while minimizing their weaknesses. Think of it as building two buckets. One is taxable in the future, the other is not. By managing both, you gain the ability to adapt to changing circumstances, optimize your withdrawals, and maintain control over your financial trajectory. The key takeaway is this: tax timing matters more than most people realize. The difference between paying taxes now versus later can have a profound impact on how much wealth you ultimately retain. And in an environment where tax rates are uncertain, flexibility becomes your greatest asset. Financial planning isn't just about growth, it's about efficiency. It's about keeping more of what you earn and ensuring that your money works for you in the most effective way possible. So instead of following conventional advice without question, take a step back and evaluate your strategy. Look at the long-term implications, not just the immediate benefits, because the decisions you make today will shape your financial reality decades from now. And if one account is quietly working against you, the sooner you recognize it, the sooner you can adjust your approach and start building wealth with intention, clarity, and control. At the end of the day, this isn't about choosing sides. It's about understanding the system well enough to make it work in your favor. A 401k isn't inherently bad. In fact, when used correctly, especially with an employer match, it can be a powerful tool. But when it becomes your only strategy, that's where the risk begins to build. Because taxes don't disappear, they wait. And when the time comes to withdraw your money, the rules may not be as friendly as they are today. That's why having a Roth IRA in your strategy changes everything. It gives you options, it gives you flexibility, and most importantly, it gives you a portion of your wealth that is completely protected from future tax uncertainty. The real winners aren't the people who pick one account blindly. They're the ones who understand both and use them strategically. So before you keep investing the same way everyone else does, take a moment to rethink your approach. Because building wealth isn't just about how much you make, it's about how much you keep. And sometimes, the biggest financial mistake isn't what you're doing wrong, it's what you don't even realize is happening.